I like to click things until I figure them out. So that's what I did. Make that bigger. Not too big. That's not too big. All right. There. Ah. Huh. Well, I don't know if this is going to work. Doesn't quite seem like I have the bandwidth to maintain a broadcast there in the middle of the day while people are watching TV in the living room. Because my computer is on the far side of the house. But I made pretty image stuff because, I don't know, I just wanted to see what I could do with the program. And that, apparently, there's the camera. Hi, one person that's watching now. Is the video showing up at all? Are you chat enabled? Can you tell me if this video is showing up at all? It's YouTube told me I'm having a problem because of my bandwidth, and I got a PlayStation running video in the other room, so I don't know how well it's working on your end. I'm just messing around with this stuff, figuring out how it all works, kind of. Welcome, more people, to the Lost Begotten channel. And by Lost Begotten, I do not mean wiretapping. Oh, what's up, James? Okay, so, right as you said, seems to be working. It's buffering on my end now. I'm going to lean back because the router is that way. My computer's down there. So I don't have any like metal rods in my knees or anything, but sometimes it feels like it. But yeah, it seems to be working better if I lean back, so. I'm not too sure if these images are just repeating or not. I thought I had added a lot more to them. But what you're looking at here. Oh, hey, baby. My wife has joined us, so she can harass me in the chat and try to distract me from my video. What you're looking at here is basically all under Putin's control. And those are right there, Chechen soldiers under the command of this guy, Kadyrov. And they, they sort of popped up in northern Iraq and Syria. And basically did a bunch of mercenary shit. Putin knows all about it. He knows how much they were paid. Yeah, I'm sure some people could probably just look at my photo collection. You know, if you don't believe me, you probably believe that rainbows can power spaceships. See, while we were all bitching about Benghazi and dragging Hillary through the ringer and saying Obama bad, there was this thing called the Eurasian Union forming. And it's like the opposite of NAFTA. It's like the anti-NAFTA. And their goal is to basically fuck us all up. I mean, basically to revitalize the economic viability of the Soviet mafia military structure. And that's been going on for, I believe that photo is 3 years old. Most of these photos are 3 years old, like this, pyramid, because you know how all the Jews and Freemasons are in America, right? Well, no, actually, this is in Kazakhstan. Huh. Yeah, Kazakhstan. Roulette wheel, where they meet and talk about the world. Oh, no, nothing mafia-like about that. This is where Hillary Clinton went sour with them, actually. It was at one of these meetings. Because, I don't know, if I were her and I were there, I would be creeped out. Clearly things did not go well for them afterwards, so I guess she was kind of creeped out. Creepy. Definitely creepy. Just a lot of things that if you watched the Alex Jones channel, you'd never know happened. Just, a little bit of Freemasonic imagery. But I wonder if they built this whole thing much like a Sochi event. He's from right around Sochi. Interesting how that works. I wonder how many of those guys in that crowd are the construction workers that built the Sochi Olympics facilities. I wonder where all the money came from to build that fucking mosque. Because that was right then and there, too. We're all like, Obama's a Muslim and Vladimir Putin's great. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin just built the biggest fucking mosque in the world and sent those guys to Iraq. Those are the Chechens again. Only that's actually supposed to be a photo of Islamic State. But it's these guys. These guys are the Chechens. That's supposed to be a photo of the Chechens that rallied under Kadyrov. But that picture before, that's the Islamic State in Syria. Looks like the same fucking guys with the same equipment. But, just a bunch of squiggly lines to most people, I guess. This is called Crimea. It is Ukraine. Now it is in the hands of Russia, much like the United States of America. Exactly. So, who else is here? Anybody got typing abilities? Want to introduce yourself? Where are you from? What kind of car do you drive? That kind of thing. Do you know what an AK-47 is and who, has always kind of made it and who carries them a lot? You think there might be somewhat of a relationship between those people? They all seem to like gold gaudy things. Yeah, I got a few interesting images I've caught over the years. So, James, how do you like the cheesy, stupid backdrop shit? That was in 2015. They held the biggest military parade again last year. Bigger than that one. Probably this year they'll hold another military parade even bigger. And then they'll just send it right into Europe. And just, eventually it's going to do that. They just keep on doing the big military parades. And then they're just like, you know what? We're bored. And most Russians who are in the military or in soccer teams, footballers, they know it's coming. We don't know it's coming. We're in denial. We want to feel safe and comfortable and deny. But they know it's coming. Why? Because it's been 100 years since the last time this shit happened. And like I've been saying for the past 2 years on this channel, every 100 years, a giant war kills about a third of mankind. And the history about it, the reason leading up to it, all get fucking buried. So that when the resistance comes, it is relatively uninformed. Wasn't so successful last time, and it doesn't look, I mean, there's a lot of ways that they might be unsuccessful now. They've met a lot of resistance in Ukraine, for instance. And anybody who's got some extra time, go and watch Vice News Russian Roulette and see how it all went down yourself. Because they had a lot of people on the ground with cameras just rolling. And one of their reporters, Simon Ostrovsky, got kidnapped and tortured by these people. This guy went out there and stood right in front of Russian troops, told his men to hold back after marching them up to the barricades. And he went out there unarmed and talked to these guys, pointing a machine gun at him. Yuri Vodanovich, I believe his name was. And yeah, some other things happened with him, but I don't recall the details enough to go into them. And I don't want to sound like too much of an idiot, you know, during the whole video. That's my eyeball. I know you got to look at that. But that was the whole, you know, Whore of Babylon, snaky-headed bitch trapped in there after I exorcised her from the sun in 2011. You're welcome. Clownfish, butterfly fish. No, just a butterfly, not a fish. Butterfly fish wouldn't do very well on straw. And that is where that little, I wish I could point over there. That is where the city of Astana is. I don't know. Does my mouse pointer show up on here? That would be cool. Do I have a pointer? Tools. But anyways, on that map is right where that little pyramid is and all those weird monuments are. And if you look overhead, it forms a giant, like, Olmec image. I mean, it's a weird, creepy head, owl-looking fucker. Look at this guy's face. I mean, look at the face. And look down here. Look at that. What is that? It's a cock. They had a meeting inside of his cock. Look at the weird fucking spider eyes. And his nose kind of looks like a satellite dish. And this, you know, nice, big, pretty domed building right here. And there's the phalanx. And people want to look at Washington, D.C. and be like, oh, look, it's almost kind of a star. Fucking Olmec. And spider webs and shit. Look at it. Look at me. I'm fucking Satanist and shit. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? He's a Centauri. Look at that, too. It's like a Centauri from Babylon 5. And those are the people, again, they built the big mosque in, what's the name of that city again? Moscow. So you think a bunch of people pretending to be Christians might not be pretending to be Islamic State? Or wait, those are Kadyrov's boys. Kadyrov's Putin's best friend or whatever, who he was at war with at one point. That makes a lot of fucking sense. And these guys are all Muslims and were saying that they would do anything for Putin, anything he asked, and they screamed aluminum arc barn over and over. These guys right there, in that crowd right there, aluminum arc barn, over and over again. But you want to worry about a little fucking star in Washington, D.C., huh? Most of that shit was built relatively recently. Washington, D.C. was mapped out a pretty long time ago. Before World War II, and most modern politics became relevant at all. But, you know, you probably believe rainbows can power fucking space shuttles if you don't believe me. The whole reason I tried to reach out to the flat earth people is because I thought, you know, there's a bunch of people with open minds. There's a bunch of people who might be able to see the fucking danger that's right in front of them, and that they're being misled by Fox News fucking talking points. They're showing up as YouTube independent broadcaster fuckily faces. Fuckily faces? Yeah, that's a technical term, right? Fuckily faces. So anyways, I leaned forward, so now my image is buffering. So I have to make sure my imaginary metal knee rods that don't exist aren't interfering with the signal. Come on, stop buffering. Sheesh. Look at me, I'm airing dirty laundry. Well, technically, I don't even know if that's dirty laundry. That's like that mostly clean laundry that you maybe throw something back on top of after you wore it for a little while. Eh. Otherwise, you took it out the dryer and it didn't really fucking go anywhere that you wanted to feel like folding it up for or something like that. See, my wife says it's clean in the comments. Every day I'm buffering. 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 I'm done. Ah. So, I guess Joey must already be asleep for the day. And the other people in here don't have any fingers. Or maybe they just don't have keyboards. That might be a little more likely. Yeah, type your location and what you drive, just in case they're watching a video and they can't hear it, but they can read the chat. That makes a lot of fucking sense. And what do you think Jesus would drive? What would Jesus drive? Oh. Vladimir Putin? No, Jesus would not drive Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump would, however, drive Jesus insane. And they have. Drinking coffee, waiting for sanity to return is what Brother Maximo's doing. And he has a car that looks like these. So, I guess I'll join him. Kira says she's from everywhere, and she drives a Honda CR-V. Well, I recommend. a 2002 to 2004 model Honda CR-V. But that's what you have already. I know, because we bought it together. It's ours. And we like it. Yeah, a leg wagon is better than what I would first think of, which would be footmobile. But a footmobile is is like the '57 Chevy from the Ninja Turtles, the purple and black one, right? Rocksteady and Bebop drive it. That's the footmobile. This is the footmobile. All right, so I guess if nobody's got any interesting things to talk about or ask about, I want to get back to some current event news type stuff. Like, consider Russia as it was in the 80s until about 2005, as far as most people know. And then what was going on with them and what was going on with us. Because back when it was happening, most people just basically fucking, ignored it. I was going to try to use an emoji, but apparently it's far too complicated for me. Okay, people. I have to pick a category for an emoji, like I'm posting it on fucking eBay. Okay. The bidding for this emoji starts at $420. Yeah. Okay, so back in the 80s, supposedly, or as you know, the Soviet Union was entering some harsh economic ties, stemming from the oil crisis of the 1970s, and because Ronald Reagan was just so damn great. Well, see, what has historically happened in that area is a matter of expansion and contraction. And it's very much deliberately done with the mentality of that only the strong will survive. And there's only the strong are really welcome. And yeah, there's a lot of things I admire about Russia, the cover story. Just like there's a lot of things I admired about America, the cover story. America, the potential. Russia, the cover story. America, the secret is more of a redeeming thing. America, the known thing, the known history is kind of fucking embarrassing. Especially the more modern the interpretation the view gets when trying to reinforce a sense of liberal self-righteousness. People have gotten a little too critical about what was going on in this country, why we were here, why we were a bit barbaric when we arrived, and a little bit of the fact that it wasn't particularly white Europeans that did most of the killing in these two continents. In North America, yeah, probably. But, the Spanish controlled a lot of that shit. And they were a post-Anglican or Gaelic society. But anyway, That's all been covered on previous fucking videos. I want to talk about Russia, Russia, Russia. Turkey, Turkey, Turkey. No, Russia, Russia, Russia. Keith Olbermann's fucking video is brilliant. Loved it. Really wish I could go see Bill Maher, or if he would stop by. I wouldn't even twist his arm to try to make him do a video with me. That would be really cool. You know, we could get drunk and be on camera and act all silly. Anyway, back to Russia, Russia, Russia. In 2009, it came out that Russia had been drastically re-preparing itself, drastically modernizing, they call it, their military for the past 4 years. So it took us till about 2005 to find out, till about 2009 to find out that they had been modernizing their military since about 2005. Right when we went into Iraq. We'd been in Afghanistan for a couple of years, and then we got bogged down in Iraq. And Russia says, let's start building up our military again, now that the United States is bogged down. But they say, oh, they have us surrounded. So, got a few 100,000 troops there, got a few 100,000 troops there, got nations of millions of armed people, and they're worried about these guys, and the Russian Air Force, and fucking nuclear missiles and shit. They weren't worried about us. They had us drawn in on purpose from the get-go. Americans are so... I really want to say naive. But the word is fucking stupid. I mean, just... It reminds me of... Oh, look, there... Wait. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this. It reminds me of this movie, right here. One old chick seeing an old boy struggling and said, "You like a baby." I get the feeling that's how most Russians feel about Americans when they see them on TV and shit. They're like a bunch of fucking babies. They don't have any clue how dangerous the world is in general. But this is not a redeeming factor for Russia, and here's why. Since the 1970s, people with ties to the current Russian power structure, through both financial, family, and spiritual connective means, have been funding everything from cults to rock and roll bands, political activist groups, and especially fake news pundits. And the occasional real estate investor. That guy. And not just that, but there was a bunch of people sent here back in the 40s and 50s, even in the 60s. Their kids were of college age. had grown up in Russia, ideologically indoctrinated. No turning back from that kind of ingrained mentality and the dualistic person that has to develop to keep it secret. They won't talk to each other and eventually come to our side without direct intervention or without a full understanding of how the appalling things that they see here are actually their organized effort come to fruition. Their fault. I'm talking history professors, scientists, doctors, lawyers, psychologists, school psychologists, high school, middle school, elementary school, teachers, disciplinarians, principals. They came here, became citizens. Then they went to college here. And they've been considered some of the smartest people in the country. They've educated us on everything from our own history to European history, on everything from Islam to Christianity. We've learned so very much from them. And then especially in 1991, when so many different Russian Israelis and East Germans and Polish people with very, very nice educations and just a natural ability to be very successful, despite how much Americans actually struggle here. They come and they tell us all the bad things we've been doing. And what they do is effectively divide us. They divide education from religion. They divide government from public service. And they divide our military from why we need to defend ourselves. And they divide more than that. They go left, they go right. They get hired on CNN, and they get hired on Fox News. And the truth is always kept in the center. Where people should be is the center. But see, what happened is, in a nutshell, and I've discussed this before, the intellectuals who used to keep Christianity strong and evolving and relevant, they abandoned because they saw hypocrisy. Okay, so on the right, what was being sowed was hypocrisy. And on the left, what was being sown was logical doubt and a finger pointed at that hypocrisy. And that tore apart the Christian church that was having a revival in the 80s. And it wasn't about the kind of Christian that most people think of nowadays. It certainly wasn't about the far right-wing Republican type Christian. It was about white people getting happier the more black people showed up to their church. Okay? It was about immigrants and refugees getting allowed on stage to tell their story about how they found their way to America because a Christian missionary church, sometimes that risked its life, that as a congregation, to minister to those people in China and in Africa. And the Christians were proud to help save people. We were proud to save them even if they were Muslims. You want to know why? Because we actually had faith in Christianity. And if you have faith in Christianity, you should know that when whoever, Muslim or otherwise, hears the real truth, the devil will flee from them. But you didn't have faith. So that's not how you acted. And all the intellectuals, they weren't there to say, hey, wait a minute, this ain't right. They gave up. Christians gave up. And we slowly lost America. And then 9/11 happened. And we lost our fucking minds. Because, 10 years in the mindset of, say, a Soviet general, 10 years in the mind of a guy like Vladimir Putin, that's a real short, no, excuse me. I was going to be sarcastic and I accidentally spoke accurately. Let me digress. That's a real long time. 10 years. And it couldn't have been the Russians. 10 years. And it's funny how any cheesy mafia show oh, I'm so sorry to hear that happen to you. That's horrible. What can we do? I think if we cooperated more, you'd be in a lot less danger. Mafia. Okay? We didn't have a fucking clue. Phasers were set to stun, and shields were down. Okay? And we just... Oh, thank you, dear Putin. Please, help us figure out who the bad guys are. And people often wonder why we were so sure that Russia still had weapons. I mean, that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Same thing. Well, we weren't the only ones who had receipts, And in fact, we didn't have the majority. But the Soviet Union had their dumb. They did blah blah blah. We're fine. Everything's fine. They don't have 2,500 nuclear fucking weapons. That's what we've been doing. That's what America's been fucking doing for 27 fucking years now. We saw it on CNN that the Cold War was over, and we're like, yay! Let's everybody just drop our fucking guard at once. Pull your fucking pants down, bend it over. Hey, anybody want to stick? Jesus fucking Christ. I spent until 1992, whenever I wasn't stealing liquor from my mom or, other things, and sedating myself so I wouldn't have fucking ulcers, I spent any time that I wasn't distracted thinking, they could just fucking nuke the shit out of us right now. We all just think it's over. We think we're hot shit. We think we're on top. And I had in my mind, they got all these fucking planes, all these tanks, all these missiles. All these ships, all these submarines, nuclear fuck submarines. Not nuclear powered. They launched fucking strategic nuclear warheads. A wall falling. Okay, now just bear with me because I wonder if I'm the stupid one. Okay. A wall falling does not eliminate a military power. It didn't fall on them. It didn't fall on the fucking 63 Corvettes or the fucking 20 nuclear fucking submarines. It didn't fall on the thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking tanks and thousands and thousands and thousands of APCs, grad launchers, ballistic missiles. That wall didn't fall on all that shit. It's still there. And in 2005, while our F-14s, F-15s, F-16s were all getting 30 years old, guess what? They came out with a bunch of whole new fucking planes. And right now, there's something that's really pissing me off. Donald Trump, like a good little Russian propaganda bitch, doesn't like the F-35, our new, the best fifth-generation fighter known to man. Probably will be the best fighter for the next 20 years at least, if we get it deployed. Well, all this news about the F-18 logistics problem, parts problems, a bunch of them in disrepair because they're too old. Notice how they stopped mentioning that F-35s are supposed to be replacing those right now? What did he do? What did that fucking coward do? Did he? I mean, it might be the case that he said, okay, we're just going to have the F-18s repaired. When, man, if you ask anybody who's flown, say, an F-18 and an F-35, which would they rather face off with a T-50 or Su-35 or, you know, they got MiG-34 now, Su-37. No, fucking. I'm getting the numbers designation mixed up with what the newest one is that they have deployed. But anything after a fucking MiG-29, ask them which one they would rather go up against. And, you know, ask them whether or not they'd rather be in an F-18 or an F-35 if Russia starts building a bunch more of their new planes, which were specifically to take out F-18s. An F-35 is a god throne for battle. Okay? It is a total situational awareness machine that not only gets great gas mileage, but has a hell of a punch that can't show up on radar. You can put hard points on it, and they can drop the whole hard point off, and they can go in undetected. They don't need the extra tanks, because of the fuel of the slippery chassis lines. Okay, the actual gas mileage gives it a longer range without a drop pod, and you can still add drop pods to it. But Trump doesn't like the F-35 because he's a good Russian propagandist, you know? He's a good little servant of Olmec. Fucking weird. I mean, that's fucking creepy. You know, that it's even creepier than that. The giant green and gold fucking mosque in the middle of Moscow. I mean, that's what he does after his country gets attacked by Chechen terrorists, supposedly. Some weird mafia shit, man. That whole thing in Grozny was basically just a test to see how little we were all paying attention. Oh, hi, Sean. Didn't see you there. I see we got a few more people watching. Introduce yourself if you want. Ask questions, feel free. And otherwise, tell me where you are, where you're from, what do you drive, and what do you think Jesus would drive? Oh, and apparently one person didn't feel comfortable answering those very personal questions, so they've left us. He must think rainbows power spaceships. Yeah. Was I looking the right way, or was I looking? Oh yeah, I switched the webcam, so now I can not sit there and go like this and not look like I know what the fuck way I'm facing. No, I didn't see you. If you sent another message, you know, welcome to my channel where Russian hackers just spend their fucking free time when they get bored. You know, fuck's sake. So, getting on to the whole 2005 thing. We're getting bogged down. They're building up their military. Then, you know, I concede that despite the fact that I believe Barack Obama would have won anyways, okay, that the Russians would have definitely preferred Obama at the time. In his mind frame that he had back then, not having what, you know, everybody told you Donald Trump was going to have, the whole big awakening to national security. Like, you know, like I said 2 years ago on this fucking channel defending Obama, when you become president, you become privy to a lot of information that makes you say, oh, maybe this Russian college professor I had was a little bit biased. Maybe, just perhaps. And let's see. The opponents being Republicans that were very much aware of Russia, around during the Cold War, know who these guys are, know what that is, probably already know without me telling them when it was built and kind of raise an eyebrow at it. Those guys, yeah, old Pootie would have preferred Obama to them by far. Okay? But Obama was not entirely unwise to the shittiness or the deceptiveness of communists. Okay? Obama was not willfully complicit with communism or Muslims. Okay? All of these things are lies. And if Jesus were here, he would tell you to judge Obama by his works. What did he actually do? Did he set us up into a war after all this shit happened that we would have lost very easily? Or did he help get them fucking F-35s out there that, you know, that guy doesn't like? And this whole idea of, oh, a fucking aircraft carrier wasn't deployed for 2 months, blah, blah, blah. That aircraft carrier, let me educate you a little, my little snowflakes, okay? And I'm the first person, you know, other than fucking Lewis Black to use that term in this context. Excuse me. Usually not while burping. Now I'm being distracted from the other room. Oh, Jimmy Flower is riding bikes. Sean Conway, Ireland with a Suzuki Vitara. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Jesus would tell you, judge him by his works. So what was his works? His works was to keep peace and to build our military in a modern, non-provocative way to try to give Russia over and over again a chance to say, oh, they're not really surrounding us, that kind of thing. Okay. All the while keeping from provoking them, keeping them from getting, you know, muster is the term that I used early on. And this fucking aircraft carrier shindig that you might have heard about, it wasn't held back from being deployed for 2 months because it was just in such bad condition. I mean, granted, they run them fucking things a long time before they get their maintenance. But the reason why all the aircraft carriers got put back in dock for changes, very simple. You know those fancy new rail guns we got? They shoot projectiles on a magnetic path. Okay, no explosives. You know, no charge required. Well, you know the steam catapults that we use on the fronts of aircraft carriers? We had a magnetic catapult that was going to go in all of our aircraft carriers. The point at which, I believe it was the Ronald Reagan that they were talking about, was supposed to be deployed, this system needed 2 months more of testing finalization before it could be outfitted to that ship. And that overlap, when it was being outfitted to the ship, is what caused the delay. But now we're being told this lie in the context of, we need more money for F-18s, the obsolete fighter jet that the Russians can shoot down, instead of putting more money into the F-35 deployments, the plane that can probably shoot down 4 or 5, maybe 6 Russian planes at once. What do I know? I'm just the guy with the Whore of Babylon in his eye that can raise percula clownfish and, you know, play the guitar. So, what a Suzuki Vitara, is that just a normal car, like the reasonably priced car, or is that like a little SUV or something? Sean, you there? Oh wait, no, I'm on delay, and I'm leaning forward, so I'm messing up my bandwidth again. Shit. All right, while I'm waiting for you to reply, I'm going to get to my last little issue. I got a really extensive notes written here. See that? pages and pages. So we're all starting to learn, finally, you know, after me fucking being like, doesn't anybody notice this shit?
No.
For years. Finally, we're starting to learn what's been happening in the past few years. But today, the Russians, namely they disclosed their names, 2 named Russian FSB officers have been indicted for the hacking of the Yahoo network. And apparently this investigation led to, you know, knowledge that they've been tampering with all kinds of shit all over the internet. Much like this crazy guy on YouTube who thinks he's Jesus says. Oh, wait, that's me. Yeah. Much like I've been saying for years now. Oh. So. All right, so it's like it's like a Honda CR-V. No. But is it like more like a Honda CR-V or more like the old Suzuki Samurai? A friend of mine back in high school had a Suzuki Samurai with a stick shift on that thing. It always kind of felt like you were gonna die riding in that, but you know that's why they gave you that handle in the front so you could hold on for dear life and just hop along with it. Like riding a motorbike with no suspension, just being in the fucking passenger seat of that thing. See here. I know what I can do. Let's listen to some music. I can listen to music because I recorded the music, so you know I'm not going to sue myself. Because I'm learning how to use this fancy little application I downloaded because YouTube told me I had to, and now I got little images and a banner and stuff, and I'm just going to try to see what else I can do with it. My wife loves her 300,000 mile CR-V, that's for sure. So, let's see what song to play. What song? How about that one? See if that works. So I wonder if that's come through. It's my song. I just explained. Yeah. I can't see myself. If friend Danny from Texas finds me, since he recognizes his voice on there, that'd be nice, because I can't find his ass.
You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door. The way it treated me too many times before.
That's him singing right there. I feel something on the computer while I'm saying that. What is this asking? You just voted in Holland, good. I hope you didn't vote for a far-right crazy person.
I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side today I've died.
Unheard Few has asked, Unheard Few, are you still there? Has asked, what is your point of view on the Syrian war? And what do you think might happen to us here in Lebanon.
baby, you know
Would
it's
it be like
fine.
another Syria or maybe another Ukraine? Sorry for being
Now
off
you
topic.
done
No,
me
that's absolutely
You
fine.
ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad.
Any questions?
I'm going on. No, I'm going on.
So, okay. I'm not familiar with what exactly has been going on the ground lately in Lebanon. We just don't get a lot of news from right here. As far as Syria goes, I've documented as it was happening on this channel for the past couple of years and in the Support Ukraine group as it was first happening, that basically Russia has been instigating the Iraqi resistance, the Iraqi insurgency. Al-Qaeda in Iraq has been supplying it not only directly through roads from the north, but through Bashar al-Assad in Syria. And the reason why this is all really popped off behind the scenes is because of that. And for a long time I've been saying that keeping that much of it a secret in order to avoid provoking Russia was a very big mistake. But you know what was us. So here we are. And as far as the future of that area, Turkey. The Russian alliance with Turkey is, and I said this recently on a video that wasn't live streamed about the Cold War never ending or divide and conquer or something like that. That this whole problem with Turkey. Oh, I can't even fucking. I had to scroll down on the chat. Okay. Well, damn.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, my wife has informed me that the mix was off on the music. Is that better now? I'm gonna wait until somebody replies to try to fucking repeat whatever the hell it was I was flapping my gums about. Okay. So, alright, as I've said on previous videos, some recent videos about the Cold War never ending and how we need a strategy to combat, divide, and conquer. This whole alliance between Turkey and Russia really just fucks us. I mean, we're so on our way out of the equation, it's not even funny. And what's going to happen down there is this very authoritarian way of, bribes and mafia running things. And if you fuck up, you basically just get killed. That's going to slowly creep its way, not just through conquest, but through, political overthrows and votes. It's going to slowly creep its way down there. Whether or not it comes by an armed resistance again in Lebanon, or another armed intervention again in Lebanon, that remains to be seen. But like I was saying about Syria, because of the this slow play, I think it is. It's been a play that's been going on between Putin and Erdogan. The independent non-mafia Kurds and just various different sets of people who actually want to have a life that, you know, ran by rule of law, relatively peaceful, not have to like bribe police officers to get investigations done, that kind of thing. They're all being systematically marginalized. And, you know, fake news has played a hand in this. Islamic State has played a hand in this. Russian mercenaries posing as Islamic State has played a hand in this. And, of course, the Turkish military also has started to play a hand in this. I don't see that situation getting better anytime soon. In fact, I see it drastically getting worse just for a very long time. And until we entirely pull out of the Middle East, then it will just be Russia taking over for a few decades. And we'll either get invited back or they'll have the sinister fascist piece of the stick, you know? Kind of like the hardliners keep it in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia does business with everybody. Don't think Saudi Arabia is just our baby. And we don't do business with everybody in Saudi Arabia. It's a nuanced relationship that a lot of people don't realize. Especially when it comes to the Clinton Foundation. They support people in Saudi Arabia who are against the things that people complain about when they try to complain about the Clinton Foundation. Anyways. So, I don't know if that answered your question as far as Syria and Lebanon goes. But I would need to catch up on present developments. If there's anything that you can tell me that's been happening recently in Lebanon that would give me some context to analyze, I'd appreciate it. And maybe I could help you out a little more. Yeah. So, yeah, new indictment today. 2 Russian hackers for something to do with Yahoo. I mean, they're basically collecting user information, statistics, habits, their personal information, password information, and using that information to help them interfere in other sites. And like, a lot of people have the wrong idea about what hacking is. Okay, hacking doesn't all take place behind a computer. Okay, it's not a guy sitting behind a computer going blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's not how hacking works. Hacking actually involves real people doing some things that have nothing to do with computers, other than it acquires the information necessary to get a certain account. And once you have information for a certain account, then you can get all the other accounts. Hacking is almost always done in concert with a physical human spy. Now, what people recognize as the effects of hacking isn't done by people at all. It's done by virtual server bits. And this is basically the way your hard drive works. is that information isn't stored in a little section. There's not like, oh, this one folder full of pictures is over here on this part of the disk, and another folder is over here. No, it's part of this picture is over here, part of this picture is over here, part of this folder is over here, over here, over here, over here. And it accesses this by spinning it and reading it in multiple locations all at the same time. Well, virtual bit servers are basically the same thing. Imagine it as a hard drive worth of information is a server. Okay, a server like an email server, a server like a Google AI search results server. And if you can get that server broken apart, and then each one of them little pieces make multiple copies of, hide them in a fake sales email, a phishing thing, hide them once you get login information, hide them in an actual approved corporate logo for, YouTube or Walmart or, okay? One infiltrator in their IT department in the right position is all it takes. And that little image just gets swapped out with something that has encrypted, hidden on it, that is part of a server. Now, when you go online, you go and you download that image, your friend, your aunt, your former, your Doug's former owner's roommate's cousin, best friend, when they go online, all these virtual server bits, they see each other and they form one big, massive, and I mean massive, server with the power of up to millions of computers. And that is what is used to do what most people picture, a fat guy on their bed doing. So, so in Lebanon, they have a new Christian who is a Maronite, a sect I'm not particularly familiar with. And after a 4-year absence of, I'm guessing, a Christian president, this guy is pro Hezbollah and pro Iranian Shiite militia, as in wants them there in Lebanon. I have considered both of those groups for a long time to be, and this is only conjecture in modern times, but if you go back, they were supported by the Soviet Union. Okay, you can't call them communist groups anymore. They're wings of the Russian mafia. They're part of what I call on this channel the Horde. Okay. Oh, so he says they weren't allowed to vote for anyone else. He was forced into office by Hezbollah's weapons aimed at our chests. Sorry to hear that, man. If Americans hadn't been so fucking stupid on both sides for the past 20 years or so, we might be in a position to help you out. But we're not anymore. because we thought after having our barracks blown up, you know, the Marine barracks back in the 80s, Hillary Clinton mentioned that. Most people forgot about that. After having our barracks blown up, we decided to declare victory and all that shit. You know, we declared victory and we went home for a little while. Yeah. So. Oh, so it's sub-Catholic. Yeah, I figured it was Syriac. Maronite is a sub-Catholic Syriac sect. It rings a bell. I just don't like to say I know about something when I'm not, gathering all that much in my brain. So, all right, we've gone a little bit over an hour here. If anybody has any questions, get them out now, or we are going to run out of time, and I'm still buffering. Fucking buffering. Yeah, I remember that. The thing about unrest is that usually it seems like it's coming from inside the country, but oftentimes it's actually being promoted from outside of the country. And it's those outside groups that are now, getting control of your dreams. And I'm still buffering. Okay. So I'm just going to give up. And maybe next time I'll try to turn my resolution down to 320 on the webcam so my crappy connection doesn't hold up the stream too much. I don't know how my outgoing stream is right now, whether or not it's just my, playback that's got the buffering thing on it. But thanks for joining me, everybody. Like I said, I will be trying to do this every day at noon and midnight. That's Central Time. United States Central Time. So Mexico time. Finally, got some more stuff here. Whatever's on your mind, bro, save it for later or meet me back around this time tomorrow. And the subject line is going to be in the title. Otherwise, check my other videos for more information that's been missing. Because, well, let's face it, shills won't tell you. So depending on Obama and EU for help, but we became a playground for Iran. Turkey backed out like a stab in the back. Yeah, Turkey's good at stabbing people in the back. That's because it was conquered by Dagestanis a long time ago. Dagger in the back. It's a little metaphor. And on that bombshell, it is time to end. Once again, thanks for watching, everybody. 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock Central Time, United States, Canada, Mexico, the middle of the country. Like right now, it is 1:23 on my clock, so that gives you an idea wherever you are in the world. That time, 12 and 12, AM and PM. I'm going to try to be doing these live broadcasts. And feel free to have some questions in mind, write them down, keep them coming. Peace. I'm going to try to close the thing now. I'm not really sure I know how to do this.